All right, folks, week 2 is here, and the Chicago Bears take on the Houston Texans in prime time on Sunday night. So let's talk about this game, give you guys my preview and a final score prediction at the very end. So stick around for that. So what is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports all back at it with another video talking some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, guys, hit that subscribe button down below. I promise you, you will not regret it. So I got a lot to talk about previewing this game. It should be a fun one. Well, let's hop right into it. All right, so here we go. We'll start with the numbers like we always do. The Chicago Bears taking on the Texans on Sunday Night Football are underdogs in this one, as expected, by 6 points. So the Texans are almost a touchdown favorite. The over-under on the game is about 45.5, so a decent total, nothing crazy in that. So we'll talk about my keys for this game. But first and foremost, I want to talk about kind of this Texans team real quickly here. So last week they beat the Indianapolis Colts in a very close game, 29-27, and we finally saw the Texans with their new arsenal of weapons that included now Stefon Diggs and Joe Mixon, and this team is going to be a tough matchup. So let's start right there, okay? This is going to be a tough game because the Texans are a playoff team. They made the playoffs last year. They have an improved quarterback going into his second year in C.J. Stroud, who's a stud. And like I mentioned, the weaponry being there and adding to it in Stefon Diggs and Joe Mixon. So that is going to be tough for the Chicago Bears, who are going to have their hands full in this one. So let's start with my first key in this game, which is going to be that offensively, you obviously have to be better, and it has to be through the air. All right, so last year, because I can't go by just the week 1 numbers, but I will get into that in just a second. But last year, the Texans ranked 6th in run defense. So they were one of the best defenses against the run, but just 20th against the pass. So you could throw on the Texans last year, certainly more so than you could run on them. And I didn't want to talk about just week 1, right, because it's one game. But Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in football, ran 16 times for just 48 rushing yards. He did have a touchdown, but they pretty much shut him down, okay? So we don't even have a Jonathan Taylor type of running back on our team. DeAndre Swift is solid, but he's not that. And so you're not going to find running space against this elite Houston Texans run defense. So what do? You go ahead and attack via the pass. And obviously we know Caleb Williams struggled in his first game. Now, there were a myriad of reasons for that. I highlighted that in one of my recent videos. But, folks, you don't have a choice here. You have to attack this Texans team via the air. Shane Waldron better dial up a better game plan than he did in week 1 against the Titans here. The pressure coming up the middle might not be as much from the Texans that it was in the Titans, but I still want that quick, short game here, quick passes. But, again, let's have Caleb not get happy feet. Let's have Caleb not get passes batted down. Let's have him find the right arm angles and kind of go from there. Now, we still don't know about if Rome Odunze is going to play in this game. But honestly, folks, I'm not that worried if he misses because you have Cole Kmet, who you barely used in week 1. All right? You paid him all this money. Use him. You have another good backup tight end, Gerald Everett, who's been playing more than Cole Kmet in terms of snaps, which shouldn't happen. But you have him as well. And you can obviously have Tyler Scott come in and take the wide receiver 3 role. So the weapons, we shouldn't worry too much about it. There's no shortage of weapons here with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and the tight ends I talked about. So Caleb should have an ample amount of weapons to get the ball to. It's just, can he get it to them? All right? So he needs to go ahead and be aggressive in this one. And we got to move the ball through the air. And Shane Waldron better dial up a better game plan than he did in week 1. Now, last week, Anthony Richardson just completed 9 passes and still somehow threw for over 200 yards, 212 to be exact. And he did that because he had a lot of deep passes, okay? Alec Pierce finished with over 100 yards. So what does that tell me? That tells me I don't want some sort of a horizontal game here from the passing attack. We got to attack downfield deep. Okay, because the Texans, as seen in week 1, can be beat deep. And so I want Caleb to air it out and air it out deep. All right, so again, going back to Shane Waldron, he cannot just run a bunch of screen passes. He can't just run everything at the line of scrimmage. He needs to attack downfield, middle of the field, what have you. So that is the one thing I did see in the Colts game. And look, folks, the Colts team, Anthony Richardson is not no prolific passer. They were able to hang in this one. The Texans aren't unbeatable. You just have to, be able to have the right game plan, okay? Let's switch gears over to the other side and talk about the defense here for the Chicago Bears and how they can deal with the Texans offense. So my second key in this game is going to be relying on the secondary here to neutralize the weapons because there are our strength. Now, in week 1, Joe Mixon went absolutely nuts. Like, if you had him in fantasy, you were extremely happy. He had 30 carries, folks. 30 carries for 159 rushing yards and a touchdown, and chipped in 3 catches for 19 yards. Joe Mixon in the year 2024 had 30 carries for almost $160. So Joe Mixon is not doing that to the Chicago Bears, all right? And I'm not even letting that be the case. And I trust our run defense to be solid. But again, we got gashed by Tony Pollard last week. So to me, let's go strength versus strength. If you want to go ahead and, attack the Bears secondary because you have a good quarterback in CJ Stroud and have all these wide receivers that are good, so be it. I got Jalen Johnson. I got Tyreek Stevenson. I got my guys. I will take my chances here. And look, I know, the Texans wide receivers are studs here. Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. But I'll trust my secondary. I really will here. And I'll take my chances. Nico Collins had a big game last week. But Diggs, only 33 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. But he's just more of a red zone threat at this point, it seems. And then Tank Dell, 3 catches for 40 yards. Obviously, you can't let him beat you deep. And you got to reduce the yak, right? Yards after the catches where guys kill you. You got to be able to reduce that. So to me, I'm doing it, folks. Strength versus strength. I'm trusting my secondary. They were elite. Jalen Johnson might be the best quarterback in football. So if CJ Stroud wants to go ahead and test them, so be it. Go ahead and do that. But as far as the Bears D-line, we got to get pressure on CJ, folks. CJ Stroud is not a running quarterback, all right? He only had 4 rushes for like 13 yards last week. He wants to pass the football. So how do you neutralize him? You get pressure in his face. Sacks would be incredible. They would be incredible. But at the very least, we need pressure, similar to how we got a lot of it on Will Levis last week. So need big games for Javon Dexter, Montez Sweat, Andrew Billings. Like, I need these guys in CJ Stroud's drill as soon as the ball is snapped. So that, to me, is the second key here. Relying on the secondary and then pressuring CJ Stroud. Overall, folks, as far as the game prediction itself on who's going to win this, the Bears have their work cut out for them. The Texans are the better team. They're more experienced at this point. And to me, them being at home, it's hard to pick against them. Caleb needs to play much, much better than he did last week. We obviously know that we need to be able to neutralize this incredible offense. So it is going to be a tall task here. Can the Chicago Bears do it on prime time Sunday Night Football? I can't go there yet. I think the Texans win this one by a final score of 27-17. And the Chicago Bears fall to 1-1 here. I would have loved to pick the Bears, but I got to be objective here. The Texans are the better team. And we're going to deal with some growing pains here early on in terms of Caleb. But I expect the bounce back to happen. But this is just not the game for it. It's going to be tough, man. Hostile environment in Houston. Caleb's got to play better. He really does. But I can't pick the Bears in this one. I got the Texans. Let me know what you guys think. Agree or disagree. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts as always. Thanks for watching.